St. Cloud State students get their spring break during the first full week of March. Ashley and I were feeling adventurous at the time, so we decided to go west, young man, as Toby Keith would say. I've never visited the Badlands of South Dakota before, and once I stepped foot out of my car to pose in front of the entrance sign, I didn't want to leave. That place is truly magical, and as someone who spends most of their days looking up into the troposphere and beyond, I couldn't help but satisfy my lithospheric interests, at least for a few hours.
Have you got color in your cheeks? Do you ever get that feel that you can't shift, the type that sticks around like summits in your teeth? Are there some aces up your sleeve? Have you no idea that you're in deep? I dreamt about you nearly every night this week. How many secrets can you keep? Cause there's this tune I found that makes me think of you somehow, and I play it on repeat until I fall asleep, spilling drinks on my settee. Do I wanna know if this feeling flows both ways?
We visited the world-famous wall drug, then made our way over to Mount Rushmore just in time for a neat sunset display as altocumulus filled the sky.
Made for saying things that you can't say tomorrow day. Crawling back to you. Never thought of calling when you're at you, 'cause I always do.
In hindsight, we were fairly lucky to plan our trip to Mount Rushmore on our first evening, as the other two nights experienced dense fog. And I mean dense.
23 miles of this, are you ready? 23 miles of a quarter mile visibility? Not even an eighth of a mile visibility, are you ready? Oh my god. I lost the road for a second.
I couldn't see anything for a second.
Thanks, Black Hills microclimates in early March.
I'm sorry to interrupt, it's just I'm constantly on the cusp. I've tried and to kiss you. I don't know if you feel the same as I do. But we could be
Anyways, more sightseeing, including trips to Deadwood, Lead, and Crazy Horse, ensued. But at the same time, I was keeping a close eye to our forecast on the way back home.
If this feeling flows both ways, was sorta hoping that you'd stay.
So today's Monday, March 5th, and Ashley and I are just about to head out of this hotel. Our goal is to get back to St. Cloud this evening. Don't know if we're going to be able to do that. Very strong pressure gradient. With the deepening low off to our east and then a high off to our west, so we're going to be right in the middle of that across South Dakota. There's not a whole lot of objects on the land in central South Dakota and anywhere in South Dakota really, so nothing's really going to be there to slow the wind down in terms of friction.
Take a look at some of the alerts that we have in play here for you right now. See the areas in the blue, winter storm warnings from Bismarck back down towards Minneapolis. The blizzard warnings in effect here for us as well, getting down across a good chunk of central South Dakota. That's another area here where the highway patrol is saying, today is not the day to get out. Stay inside, just hang out on your couch, because it's just too dangerous to be out there.
So, we do have a high wind warning in effect for western South Dakota, and I'd say winds right now outside are probably gusting to around 40 miles an hour. The west side of the system, where there's no precipitation, no snow falling, it's just all wind. And then once we get into the snow, it's going to be wind and snow. That's why there's blizzard conditions occurring. And that's why there's blizzard warnings out for central South Dakota and eastern South Dakota. A powerful and deepening low pressure system was progged to trek across the central plains and into the Siouxland by Monday afternoon. This would be my first experience dealing with a shut-down interstate.
Well, we have some news.
What?
So between Murdo and Mitchell, I-90's closed today.
Oh, good.
So I'm thinking we'd go to Murdo, we'd turn back around, go back to Stamford, take 63 up to 14, and then go through Pier, and then just take 14 all the way over to Huron.
I was ready. Or so I thought. By early afternoon, we reached the US 83 exit 192 in Murdo, where all seemed fine at the time, aside from some strong surface winds.
You're the warmth I feel beside me, and the fear of growing cold. The continue.
We realized our next best path of travel was to take State Highway 248 to Vivian, then take US 83 north to Pier, then take US 14 back to the state of 10,000 ponds, and we would be home free. Sounds easy, right? But, as Lee Corso would say,
Not so fast, my friend. I didn't know you were going to do that.
You were the only red flag, the only red flag that I could never raise. You were the only red flag, the only red flag that I could never raise. At the pace that we've been running, when our lungs begin to sting, I'm hearing over.
there's only been a handful of times where I truly felt uncomfortable driving through a snowstorm, or, in this case, a full-out blizzard, during the day. Well, this time was one of them, and perhaps this would top them all.
Body bends to weakness. Your voice will be the sound that conceals the pain. You were the only red flag, the only red flag that I could never raise. You were the only red flag, the only red flag that I could never raise. Love is a one-way street.
We realized after traveling 35 miles in an hour and a half that we should spend the night in Pier. And I think that decision is one of the smartest I've made when it comes to chasing major snowstorms. The next morning, the initial drive east was still treacherous, so I could only imagine what it would have been like 20 hours earlier. Actually, I don't want to.
You were the only red flag, the only red flag that I could never raise. You were the only red flag.
This blizzard produced thunder snow reports in northeastern South Dakota, hundreds of accidents across South Dakota and Minnesota, and winds in excess of severe thunderstorm criteria across central South Dakota. A few isolated snowfall reports exceeded 15 inches across northern plains as well. It wasn't until 7 p.m. that evening when I quit seeing a consistent coating of snow on the road. Until next time, this is Hunter Anderson. And I do want to note that Ashley and I aren't together anymore, and that I wish her the best of luck as she pursues a master's degree in social work down in Athens, Georgia. But that's not the main point of this video. The main point is that I don't ever plan on documenting a South Dakota blizzard ever again. Ever.
Ever. Even if there's a fire.